In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word became flesh and lived among us. In the beginning, the world is bright and blurry, and wide and cold. But the bread of life comes naturally sometimes. There are cradling arms, the warm touch of skin, and the sweet taste of breast milk, the comforting melody of lullabies, the rhythm of rocking arms, the soothing feel of warm, dry clothes. Jesus said, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you." And you grow, and so does the world, and everything is an adventure. Sandboxes are major construction sites, fairylands and marble runs, scooters and chalk, Play-Doh and cookies, chocolate milk and crisscross applesauce. Summer days spent on the beach, flying a kite, discovering shells. And the bread of life is in the story time, when you hear your favorite bedtime story for the 100th time. It is in the hug and putting on of a Band-Aid after you fell on your knee. It is the tight embrace before you walk in the classroom every morning. The whispered, "Sleep tight," as you drift away to sleep. But you don't want to sleep, because that is time lost to playing, and you are hungry for every new day because you want to grow up. You can't wait for the birthday candles numbering one more than last year, and you count down the days to Christmas. And in all this, there is the bread of life, and it helps you to grow, to become stronger, stay curious, be confident, to root and have trust. And sometimes the bread of life comes wonderfully and naturally at the same time. Jesus said, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you." As you grow, the world gets deeper. There are requirements and homework, math tests and science fairs, essays and sport games, parental reprimands and own interests, insecurity and boldness in a fascinating mixture. There is fear of bad grades, the excitement of secret crushes, and a craving for summer break. Uncool parents, changing fashion and questions doubtfully carried around. But there's also the encouraging teacher who knows how to motivate. Parents that ask the exact right amount of questions in a non-embarrassing way. The youth minister who appreciates your thoughts and doubts. There's the friend who listens. In all of them, the bread of life breaks through into your world, repeating over and over again, "You are loved," in variation. Jesus said, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you." And as you grow, the world gets more complicated. Love letters, broken hearts, tears, and strained friendships. A yearning for tomorrow and at the same time a dread. What will tomorrow look like? Future angst and courageous plans, founded hopes and naive dreams. And friends, sometimes the right ones, sometimes not. Decisions, how to earn your bread, which college to attend and what to study, and in all this, people that counsel you wisely, who hug you when it gets overwhelming, who listen again and again to your dreams of your future, who respect your right to make your own experiences, who hold you while you cry, who know how to brighten your day during finals, who are lenient when it's sometimes too much. The bread of life comes in different shapes and forms, but it always tastes of love. Jesus said, "I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you." And as you walk further into the world, you see how other people are sometimes struggling. You see injustice and privilege. You see violence, disdain, and hate. And you see that there are some that withhold the bread of life, treat it like their property, lock it up and fence it in. And you think, there is enough for everyone. There must be. And you want change. And there are people who share their stories with you, who are open about their experiences, who show you what the world looks like through their eyes and their bodies. And you listen and feel. and grow richer and wider, and your world becomes more colorful and your language more intentional. And you learn. The bread of life is a task to work on together. Jesus said, I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you. And you share your life with friends, with a partner, maybe kids, and together you live and work and build and celebrate. Most days are more routine than others, and that's okay. Out of many possibilities, develop your reality. Is it what you wanted? Sometimes you grieve for what could have been. Sometimes you feel the blessing where your dreams came true. And the bread of life shows up unexpectedly on your doorstep as a bouquet from a friend, or the reminder to take a break, or the prayer spoken for you. Jesus said, I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you. Time is passing quickly, and you know that life happens with unforeseen goodbyes, broken relationships, death, and ailments. There is disappointment and loneliness, bad news in the papers, and you feel tired and fed up with all this here. And you don't like the bread of life because it tastes stodgy. And you wonder, what is all this about? When life feels meaningless, what is the path to take? And what happens when you're too weak to chew on this bread of life? Jesus said, I am the living bread that came down from heaven, and I abide in you. In ancient Israel, bread was the main food. Bread was life. Eating bread sustains life, mortal life. For eternal, abundant life, you need more than mortal bread. Jesus said, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Those who eat my flesh and drink my blood abide in me, and I in them. And as you are invited to the table, you are not alone. There are 2 or 3 gathered or more, and you take a look around and realize they are all here. The ones who doubt and feel burdened, the ones who feel at ease. You too are sometimes the former, sometimes the latter. And you receive the bread of life, like everyone else, without judgment, without qualification, just as you are. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. Those who eat my flesh and drink my blood abide in me, and I in them. You receive the bread of life and strength and continue to share it with others. And sometimes that comes naturally and easy. And sometimes it is hard to see and feel and taste. But Jesus asks us to abide, to choose to stay, actively remain, and deliberately grow in love. And the bread of life comes into our world as acts of kindness and patience, as respect and understanding, as listening and caring, as comforting and love, and the hope and the faith that we are enough. We receive and we share, because there is more than enough for everyone, infinitely enough. And in the end, there is no end. There's only God and love and grace. Amen.